Welcome back, my little subscribers. In this video, I want to talk about a camera that is not new, but has, once again, changed my mind about photography and the equipment we use. So what am I talking about? As you've seen in previous videos, or if you've just immersed yourself in the photography and videography world, you know that we are flooded with options. Options in all price ranges, vintage options, current options, the latest technology. There's just a vast variety to pick from. And a lot of times it is a challenge to settle in on what it is that you need for your work, whether it's personal or professional, whether you're doing sports, portraits, weddings, videos like this. There's a tool for everything, and a lot of tools can be used for multiple things. There are a lot of recommendations people will give you on what gear to use or what not to use for certain things. But at the end of the day, it really is down to your personal preference and your use case scenario. So in this video, I want to talk about the Leica CL. Now, when you talk about Leica cameras, it is a bit of a challenge for me. One, because I know they're expensive, and it's definitely not the first system that I started with. So there is an accessibility issue with Leica cameras. Obviously, I'm talking about new. Pre-owned is a different story. And that's where I basically started exploring Leica, buying the used equipment, things that are 5+ years old, because that's how long I've had to wait, or that's how old things have to get for you to get something at a more reasonable price. The Leica CL is one of those cameras. It's not brand new. I believe it came out in 2019. I might be wrong. It might be 2017. Either way, it's by no means the newest technology. It does not have AI autofocus. It does not have phase detection. It is minimalist, very few buttons. It does have a touchscreen, which is nice. It does have 4K, which is nice. But again, it's very limited. It is very minimal in its approach to photography, and I'm assuming they put 4K at some point. Someone was using it or wanted to use it for video. Nonetheless, why am I talking about this camera? I've had Sonys, Canons, Nikons, Fujis, many Fujis. I've tried Lumix. I've tried so many systems, a lot of the major systems, and I keep coming back to Leica cameras, and that's for a certain reason. Now, if you've seen my prior videos, I've been on the search for a compact camera with a compact lens combination. It encourages me to want to take it outside versus keeping it away in the bag where it won't get used and it's just sitting there or sitting at home. So I've gone through the various alpha APS-C cameras in the years that I've been doing photography, from the A6000, 6400, 6500, 6700. I've tried Fuji's APS-Cs, X100s, different versions of that. S9 in the full frame world, which is a very compact camera, which is really nice. All of them have had pros and cons to them. Of course, the Sony A7C series. I've had the first one and the second one. These are all great cameras. There's nothing that stops you from creating something amazing with these cameras. So why do I keep going back to something that is so limited? And that is kind of part of the key for me bringing up this camera today. The CL is by no means superior to a lot of the cameras I just mentioned. It's APS-C, it's discontinued, and yes, you can use full frame L-mount lenses on it, but there are a couple APS-C lenses, thanks to Sigma, who has just kept up with providing lenses at all mounts. But what is it that attracted me to this camera? So let me take you through my little journey here. My most recent compact camera was the X100 V, and I've had that camera twice now. So I was hoping on my second time I appreciated it more, which I did. I understand its use case scenario. Like, you learn to appreciate different cameras for what they are. This one has, as all Fujis do, the awesome color science from their presets, those emulations. Compact lens, basically a pancake that you can adapt to a 28 and a 50 using those screw adapters. I enjoyed all of that. I have nothing bad to say about the camera, except many times I felt when I was editing my pictures or even using it, there was just something missing for me. And I think it was kind of part of it was where the end product would result, or what end product would result from what I was doing. So in camera, I would probably enjoy seeing the preview with the emulation on it. But of course, I want to edit my images, and I could not really get to a place where I was comfortable and enjoying the image as much as when I was seeing it in that JPEG preview. But even the JPEG previews sometimes did not convince me enough to be the final version. So I always wanted to work on them a little bit more. Now, this may just be a color grading issue for me personally, not understanding how Fuji colors work and how to edit them, not finding the right starting points with presets or whatnot. But there was just something missing for me in those files in the end result. And I've seen samples all over the place. X100V cameras, very capable of all kinds of situations, all kinds of photography. I did not, there was something about the files. And every time I went back to my Q2 or my SL2S, I think part of it was also the experience of using the camera and then the end result. I've been noticing, and again, this is a color grading, it's very personal to every photographer, how much work you want to put into files. What's your starting point may be different for different systems, but I just keep finding that the Leica cameras, those DNG files are so good. They have such great dynamic range. They're very clear. They just feel realistic. It may be, of course, because I'm combining it with specific lenses that I'll talk about in a bit. But I just feel like the output is just brings me back to it. I'll jump to another camera, and that file, that end result that I'm getting there, keeps bringing me back. So I wanted something like that in a compact package. So when I was looking around, and of course there's so much to find out there, I've always eyed the Leica TL system. I've tried the TL2. That was my very first Leica that I used. Enjoyed the files, was very slow, was not as reliable as I wanted it to be. Of course, coming out straight from Sony, which your expectation is up here when it comes to autofocus and stuff like that. So the CL is basically the EVF version of the TL2. So after using the Q2, I saw the body similarities, the button layout, the menu system. It just clicked. So got rid of the X100, got the CL, used, of course, because they're discontinued. I did not overpay because that's ridiculous. Some of these things are going way too much, too high up there. And it just clicks. I'm getting very similar files, just as much clarity, sharpness, definition. I don't know how to explain it. Tones. These files are just giving me a great starting point that makes my life easier and my vision shorter to get to. And I've used, like I said, all these camera systems, and I've been happy with the results I've had. But there's something about the start to finish process that these little cameras are giving me that I'm just learning to appreciate more and more. Like, I understand obviously you got to have a good starting point with these cameras. These could be your primary cameras, but if they're not, you have to keep in mind there are compromises, like with any system, but especially with older cameras. The first compromise is the autofocus. But I've been using ManoFocus more and more because of my Leica cameras, and I've been so into the Thypox Samara lenses. I'm using those on everything. Sony, Lumix, Leica. I've used them on Fuji. I've just used those lenses on everything, and I just loved the manual focus. I've been wanting to have that intentionality a little bit more established, taking my time, not just spraying and praying. So that journey has taken me to appreciate an older camera system that does not demand an instant autofocus because it's been optimized for certain lenses like the M-mount, and it makes manual shooting pretty straightforward. So the Leica CL, and throughout this video that I'm talking, you'll see photo samples. I've been enjoying being able to have an APS-C version of this Leica world into this such compact body. And if you're selective with your lens choices, there are very excellent small to medium sized lenses that fit on this thing that many times as I use it more and I look down at the camera, it makes me feel like I'm basically using a Q2, but with interchangeable lenses with a crop, which of course on the Q2, if you're familiar, or the Q3, for those of you who have the benefit of being able to use those, you have so many megapixels that many people punch in the crop anyway. This is basically giving me that, but instead of cropping, I'm putting different lenses on it. And I have to say, it just makes me more passionate about photography using this camera, because I'm just enjoying the entire process. Whereas with the Fuji, I think the expectation when I'm using a Fuji is the autofocus is going to be locked in because it has face detection. The lens is going to be sharp enough or have great micro contrast. And I just feel like I've been sacrificing on some of those things, and it hasn't been as reliable as I wish it could be. But nonetheless, that camera works for certain people and for certain scenarios. They all have their place. It's all preference. I just wanted to share my experience on the CL because this is a camera that you can just like glance at and walk away and not be like, oh, that doesn't look very interesting. But it goes to show you that if you put the time into something that inspires you, you'll just want to pick it up. You'll want to use it. And that means you're going to be more committed, more intentional, which will make your results better. So like many photographers out there are saying, I want to say it too. It's all about having purpose and intentionality, stepping away from this spray and pray, instant captures, taking 100 shots in a second. We have the technology for it. It has its place. But if you truly want to be satisfied with the end products of what you produce, I think you just the secret really is an intention and planning what you want to do. Having a goal with your photography will just make you happier with your photography, to be more consistent with it. So I'm been enjoying this camera. This is a first impressions, of course. I'm happy to come back later and give you my long term. But just to name a couple of lenses, because it's kind of hard to label them as I edit them because I've been using a lot of manual focus. You'll see a mix of lenses that I'm using on this little camera, ranging from very versatile Sigma 18 to 50, which reminds me a lot of like the X2 Leica, that point and shoot that they made at some point that had a zoom in range and something similar. The TT Artisan series, that has impressed me substantially. That 40 f2, that 75 f2, they fit like a glove on this camera, just like they do on full frame, because they're so compact. Like I said, Thypox Samara does not let you down. I've been using this one. I've been using the 28-1.4 to get a 40 equivalent, 35 to get a 52 equivalent, and now most recently this 21, which I'm using to record on the S1R2 to get a 30, close to like the Q2, a 21. And yes, it's not the most, a lot of these lenses are not the most compact, but they're encouraging to use. So I hope you enjoyed the samples, and I'll be back to share more. Thanks for watching.